So what I'm going to do is actually possibly related, is help everyone seize the day. Because I want to today talk a little bit about how actually everyone in this room is a trend watcher, even though you might not necessarily think about it. So I just want to start by giving everyone just 10 or 15 seconds just to think of your startup crush. Okay, so what is the brand, business, app, startup, new product or service that you love? You can't live without. Maybe it's just come into your life, maybe you downloaded it a few months ago. The thing that you feel is changing the world, the thing that is exciting you, the thing that you want to tell your friends about. At the back there, yeah, we have one. Airbnb. Amazing example, right? I'm sure many of the other people have a crush on Airbnb once you've experienced the travel experience that is totally different to staying in a hotel. Anyone else? Strava. So this is also social, right? So it's like a social fitness app. So you can basically show your identity. You can show everyone, rub it in your friends' faces that you are clocking kilometer after kilometer on the bike. Yes?
Mine is Opinio. Opinio is an app, market research, and you get 1,000 interviews in 5 minutes.
1,000 interviews in 5 minutes in a market research app. What was the name of that? It sounds like everyone needs to know this. Opinio. P-I-N-I-O, right? So everyone make a note of that. Okay, the great examples, right? Some of the ones that we often hear as well, things like Spotify, Discover Weekly playlist, right? The personal playlist that has put your friend who used to recommend music to you out of a job because it knows you better than anyone else will ever know you, the algorithm. Or ClassPass, similar to Airbnb, a little similar to Spotify or Netflix, but for fitness apps, right? You pay one monthly fee, not apps, sorry, fitness classes. You pay one monthly fee, and you can turn up to any fitness class you want, right? Or it doesn't have to be an app, right? We've focused a lot on technology. Propercorn, this is actually run by a friend of mine, so it's a shameless plug. If you're visiting London, do come and eat them. As you can see, it's a kind of healthy snack, right? So it's 129 calories, but instead of having a big bag of crisps, you can have healthy popcorn, and it's delicious, right? There's my shameless plug done. But right, the common theme between a lot of these examples that we're throwing out is they change your expectations around what is possible, right? Whether it's a travel experience, whether it's the exercise experience, whether it's a market research experience, or some of the things we've touched on. So just hold that thought for a second, right? I should really introduce myself. So my name's Henry, and I run this company called TrendWatching. And TrendWatching is a terrible, terrible name for a company because no one has a clue what it is you do, right? Because people, they get very confused when you say the word trends. Are we talking about fashion trends? Right? Is this what we do? And then they look at me and they think, definitely not. Or are we talking about macroeconomic trends, like the price of a Big Mac around the world? Or are we thinking about what's trending on social media? Right, Julian, I hope you've got your geotagged Snapchat filter that everyone can use here. Or is that next year's Indie Summit, right? What's trending on social media? Or, of course, a lot of us at that time, people are thinking about technology trends. What is the latest new platform, new device that is going to suddenly change the way we live? Right? But that, at TrendWatching, is actually not what we look at. We look at, similar to Maeve, consumer trends. Right? And as we've defined a consumer trend, it's a new manifestation among people in behavior, attitude, or expectation of a fundamental human need, want, desire, or value. And just to touch on how we do that, so we have small teams, we're only 30 people worldwide, mainly based in London, a couple of people in New York, one in Sao Paulo, one in Lagos, a couple in Singapore. And we watch these trends, and we write about them in a free newsletter, which you can find online. It goes up to about 250,000 people. We have ones covering Asia, Africa, Latin America, and a global trend. And hopefully some of you are signed up to this. And then we also have a premium service, so all the trends and innovations that we don't publish for free go into this database, this online database that you can use to build your own trend decks and plan your trend strategies. Right? But you guys don't necessarily really care about this part of our business model. The reason why I'm telling you this is because it gets to the heart of our methodology. Right, when we started publishing this newsletter for free, it was actually a marketing channel for us. That's what we thought. But we realized actually it had a far more exciting opportunity for us in that there are loads of people who read about trends, who are really passionate, really smart, really savvy, and they're not going to pay us money to subscribe to our service, right? But they can share what they're seeing. So we ask them the same question that I asked you at the beginning. what is your startup crush? What are the brands and businesses coming into the market, in your market, that your friends are telling you about? Can you share them with us? So we have over, I mean, it's like every trend firm, isn't it? We have 3,000 spotters in 70 countries as well, more or less, right? And again, they share their startup crushes with us, right? And we sit at the middle of all of this information coming in, cross-industry, cross-markets, and we try and join the dots between these innovations. But last year, a lot of our clients and even our spotters, they kept on asking us more and more. We kept on hearing these questions more and more. You know, how do you do this? Like, how do you work with trends? How do you spot them? You know, how can I become a trend watcher? So we really pulled apart our methodology and published it in this book. And actually, I'm going to give you the big idea from a book here today. Obviously, I'd be delighted if you did go onto Amazon and buy it, but I'm going to give you the big idea in the next 10 minutes. So don't worry about it. Right. Because we went out there and we started when we were writing about this. We started from this position that the world of business today, right, I'm sure no one in this room will disagree with me, it feels a little bit like this, right? It's pretty overwhelming, right? Hyper competition from all angles, right? Industries collapsing. Customers are more demanding than ever before, right? But when you strip it all back, right, actually, we started to realize that really business is about one thing. I mean, the question we're all trying to answer, right, and you're trying to answer it for your clients, but anyone in business is trying to answer quite a small question. It's not a simple question. What are my customers going to want next, right? If you have a good answer to that question, right, suddenly the overwhelm looks a little bit more manageable. That's really what we're all in the business of doing, right? And we realized that we actually have a fundamentally different way of answering this question. Right? Because the traditional way to answer this question is through, there's a number of approaches, right? Market research. You go out and you ask your customers what they want, right? Or you do ethnographic research. You study them, right? You live with them. You really get close to them, and then, if you're lucky, you can have this moment of insight, this moment of clarity, and that you see this unexpressed need or unmet desire. Right? Or, of course, the last decade has seen money pouring into the sexy world of data, right? Let's have more, bigger, better, faster data. It doesn't matter, then we can study people and we'll use algorithms to predict what they're going to want, right? And all of these approaches are very valid. We're not trying to say stop using them, right? But we have a different way of answering this question that we think is very complementary but very powerful. Right? And that is grounded in these startup crushes that I asked you about, right? And we realized that our methodology is built around an entirely new unit of analysis, right? And that is the innovation, right? And our big idea, really, if it's a big idea, is that you actually can start to have an answer to that question. What are my customers going to want next? What are my clients' customers going to want next, right? Not by crunching their data, not by asking them, right? But by looking at the innovations that they are lavishing love and attention on today to figure out what they're going to expect and want from you tomorrow. Right? Because we believe that another way of putting that is trends emerge as innovators address people's basic human needs and wants in novel ways. Okay, and again, that's a very short sentence, but there's a lot going on in there, so I'm just going to unpack it into its component parts. Right? On the one hand, we live in a world that is changing more rapidly than ever, right? Political change, social change, economic change. There's a Shanghai skyline in 20 years. I'm sure many of you have seen this. Right? Change is not going away. I don't need to tell anyone in this room the world's changing faster than ever. Right? We're obsessed with change, but sometimes we forget that amid all of this change, we're still people. Right? We still have certain basic, fundamental, universal needs and wants that don't change much year on year, decade on decade, barely millennia on millennia. Right? The desire to represent our true selves, right, that Maeve was speaking about. Desire to appear successful and attractive to those around us. The desire for entertainment. When it comes to consumerism, the desire for the right product at the right time, at the right price. Right? These are basic needs and wants that don't change year on year. But as we've touched on, right, new innovations come into the marketplace on a daily basis. And why we're interested in new innovations, why we use this as our unit of analysis, is because we believe that new innovations start to create points of tension, because they create expectations around what is possible, around how those basic needs and wants can be serviced. Right? This is not a revolutionary insight, right? People have been calling this out for years, and actually one of our favorite trend spotters spotted this a couple of years ago, so I've just got a short video that I think demonstrates this very well.
Do you feel that we now, in the 21st century, we take technology for granted?
Well, yeah, because now we live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots that don't care. Because this is what people are like now. They got their phone, and they're like, it won't. Give it a second. It's going to space. Can you give it a second to get back from space? Is the speed of light too slow for you?
Yeah.
I was on an airplane, and there was internet, high-speed internet on the airplane. That's the newest thing that I know exists. And I'm sitting on the plane, and they go, open up your laptop. You can go on the internet. And it's fast, and I'm watching YouTube clips. I'm in an airplane. And then it breaks down. And they apologize. The internet's not working. The guy next to me goes, this is bull. Like, how quickly the world owes him something he knew existed only 10 seconds ago.
Right.
And on planes...
Okay, so that's obviously Louis C.K., funny example, but we've seen it. Now you can get 1,000 market research interviews in 5 minutes. Now, how slow does it feel? Maybe even if you haven't used that service, you now go back to your market research provider tomorrow, and you're like, 3 weeks for 100? Are you kidding me, right? Why not 5 minutes, right? This is the world we live in, right? So if you don't like your pictures of hamburgers and Louis C.K., right, this is a slightly more formal way we captured this model in the book, right? You've got your basic needs, you've got your drivers of change, new innovations coming to the marketplace, and you guys, you need to be aiming your innovations into that sweet spot, but take account of all of those and resolve these expectation gaps and these points of tension that customers experience once perhaps you haven't even used that innovation, right? The moment you've heard about it, right? Even if you don't use Airbnb, you know now that other people are having an authentic, genuine travel experience and staying with locals at perhaps lower cost, right? And that you feel that point of tension when you next go and stay in a hotel. So that's the background. Now I just wanted to touch on, just for a couple of minutes, one trend, right? So we're trend watchers. We get paid to do this for a living. So we have an entire trend framework, right? And if you want a summary of this, I'll happily share it with anyone afterwards if you just send me an email or give me your business card, right? We have 16 mega trends that we look at, right? We give them all stupid names at TrendWatching, so which you can take or leave. But place humors, the desire for entertainment, right? As you can imagine, joining, the desire for connection, right? And some of the big changes in our world in the external environments, Ubertech, the spread of technology, right? Better business, eco and environmental stuff. So whenever any innovation comes in, we look to slot it into this framework, right? So I just want to talk you through how we spotted a recent trend and really, as I said, hopefully leave you guys, when you leave this room, as trend watchers, right? Feeling empowered that you and your team are in fact trend watchers, though you just don't know it yet. So, as I said, Ubertech, right? Of course, we're constantly looking at, watching the spread of technology through our lives, right? One of the biggest drivers of change out there in the world today, right? But if you think back to that model, that Venn diagram that we had, remember the basic needs, right? And we keep on exhorting our clients, right? Can you please stop seeing the world through the lens of technology, right? And just start seeing technology through a lens of basic human needs and wants, right? Why do consumers care about it? Because our assertion is that consumers don't care about new technologies, right? They don't care about artificial intelligence. They don't care about machine learning and algorithms. They care about themselves, right? As Maeve said, they care about their lives and their lifestyles and what they're trying to achieve, right? So when we start to see a new technology coming into the marketplace, we start to see new applications of it, right? And of course, some of them, you'll be familiar with and you will have seen. Right? You'd expect people like Microsoft, right, to be working on artificial intelligence. So their new virtual assistant, Cortana, right? One of the new features that they announced just last month is it will now sit in your email, sit in your computer, and if you make one of these flippant promises in email, of course I'll have a presentation to you by the end of the day, right? It will then send you at 5 o'clock, hey, it looks like you promised to do this, do you need a reminder of this? Or, of course I'll take the dog for a walk on Sunday, right? It will actually automatically go mine your emails and send you reminders, right? Or we see artificial intelligence applied in new ways, right? Again, Maeve touched on IBM Watson, right? IBM have open sourced their Watson technology, right? So we're starting to see the first wave of this artificial intelligence being applied for consumer benefit. right? So this is the North Face, right? Who on their website now in the US, you can go to it instead of having to browse and tick the check boxes for what you're interested in, right? You just type in natural language and say, I want a jacket for a ski trip to Vermont, right? Show me the products that match that, right? So it's a more intuitive sense of discovery, right? And then again, we start to see all these different other applications coming in new industries, right? New customer pain points. So here's the Swedish rail service who hired a mathematician last year to dig in deep into their data and write an algorithm that can now predict delays up to 2 hours in advance that they ever could before, right? So it will pick up that a small, train on the outskirts of a network is having an issue and model that, ripple that through the network and give people up to 2 hours more time with their kids in the morning, in bed, before you have to go to work. Right? That is artificial intelligence that customers can get on board with. Right? And then we see again all these different sectors, new forms of machine learning and algorithms applied to consumer benefit. This is one of my favorite examples of the past year. It's a service called Paribus. And in the US, what it does is they've signed up kind of 20 retailers, Amazon, Best Buy, Macy's, people like this. Right? And when you buy something, they always give you a 30-day price match guarantee. If you find this price any cheaper in the next 30 days, we'll give you the money back, right? Has anyone ever claimed that, right? You've bought the thing. You don't spend the next 30 days researching it online. Right? And anyway, a service like Amazon makes 80 million price changes every day, right? They are applying algorithms to get the most money out of us as customers. These guys said, let's turn that on its head, and we will go out there, and it sits in your inbox, it scans the receipt when you buy a product, and it then goes, during that price match period, it scans the internet, looks for a cheaper price, and if it finds one, it automatically files the price match guarantee for you, and just sends you an email saying, here you go, here's your money back, minus 25% that we take, right? Now, this is the kind of robot that as a customer, you're like, bring in the robots. These are the robots that I want, working on my behalf, right? And so these are the examples that led us to this trend that says forget about artificial intelligence, start thinking about beneficial intelligence, right? When you put customer needs first, think about how you could make customers' lives easier, faster, more fun, help them save money, help them make money, right? And you guys should now be thinking, just through those examples, whatever clients you're working on, we've seen different sectors, different applications, different use cases, but how can you use those examples to inspire light bulb moments, right? Because customer expectations will soon be set, like the Wi-Fi on the plane, by those examples, innovations that they hear about or use in the marketplace. Right? And that's what tracking trends is all about. So helping you meet and surpass customers' rapidly changing expectations. So just to wrap up, we started by saying business today is a pretty overwhelming place. Right? But we believe that if you know how to turn the forces of that overwhelm, turn the very volume of innovation to your advantage, right, you can be this guy, surfing down the wave, right? Turn the avalanche to your advantage. If that's not tortured the metaphor enough. And just to my final slide, to wrap up, right? Steve Jobs famously said, I don't believe in market research, right? Our job is to read the things that are not yet on the page because customers don't know what it is they want until you tell them. Okay, so we believe that by looking at other innovators, looking at other innovations, you can read what's on those pages and use those insights to read what is going to be on your customers' pages in the months and years to come. So thank you very much for having me. Massive thanks to Julian, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.